Speaker. I rise today to introduce articles of impeachment against Associate Justices of the Supreme Court Clarence Thomas and Samuel Anthony Alito, Jr. Against Justice Thomas, the resolution includes 3 total articles: 1 count of failure to disclose financial income, gifts, reimbursements, property interest liabilities, and transactions, among other information, and 2 counts of refusal to recuse from matters concerning his spouse's legal and financial interests before the court. The second resolution includes the following impeachment articles against Justice Alito: 1 count of refusal to recuse from cases in which he had a personal bias or prejudice concerning a party before the court, and 1 count of failure to disclose financial incomes, gifts, reimbursements, property interests, among other information.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. You guys are going to need to buckle up here, and I mean buckle up good, because I had to do quite a few hours of research in order to get all this information for you to show on the screen. So if this is one video that you guys probably don't want to sit back and watch, you might want to do so, because this is going to be showing on the complete hypocrisy, bias, and the corruption of the Democratic Party, of what they're doing to the Supreme Court justices, even though many of them have received gifts of the same nature. But they don't go after these people because they are a corrupted organization. They are a corrupted party. They do not choose their own constituents of doing things. No, they only choose the Republican or the conservative side of the justices, and we're going to be exposing that today and their hypocrisy. So hopefully you'll stick around for this, because it's going to be a bumpy ride, and we're going to be showing exactly on what's going on further to kind of give a better background of what they're doing, the reason why they're doing this, and we're going to go deep delve into this and what's been going on here, because it's really quite disgusting on what they're doing, and they make me very, very sick on their lies and their manipulation and the corruption that they're doing.
Minutes ago, we got breaking news that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has officially filed articles of impeachment against Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. That comes just after Senators Sheldon Whitehouse and Ron Wyden made a formal request to DOJ. They want a special counsel appointed to criminally investigate Supreme Court Justice Thomas for accepting travel and the loan of a luxury car from wealthy donor friends. NBC's Ryan Noble still with us on Capitol Hill. MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin is here with me. Okay, Ryan, what do we know about these impeachment articles? I know this story just broke. What happens next?
So this comes from, as you rightly point out, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York City, and she's filed 2 articles of impeachment against Justice Samuel Alito and Justice Clarence Thomas. And these articles of impeachment are not based in any of the decisions that either of these 2 justices have made, but instead specifically about their conduct around the office. For instance, in both Thomas and Alito's case, she is accusing them of not properly disclosing financial benefits and gifts that they were given by donors and others, and in some cases people that had business before the court or even had a vested interest, a political interest in some of the issues before the court. And she's also doing that in the case of Clarence Thomas, saying that he refused to recuse himself from certain cases that his spouse had a vested interest in as well. His wife, Ginny Thomas, of course, was very much involved in the Stop the Steal effort, the efforts to overturn the 2020 election and things along those lines. Also, she is accusing Justice Alito as well of refusing to recuse himself from certain cases of which he may have a conflict of interest. So these are very specific accusations that Ocasio-Cortez is leveling against these 2 Supreme Court justices. It comes at a time where Democrats are getting increasingly frustrated about the direction of the court, obviously the decisions that this court has rendered over the past couple of months, but also the conduct of these Supreme Court justices and the lack of oversight that they apparently seem to have without any kind of specific code of ethics that they...
Now, the media is not doing their court of justice here, and it's really annoying on how they're badly misrepresenting everything that's being shown there. They're not showing that a lot of their other justices, their own Sotomayor and even Grunsberg, has also done this type of thing, right? So we're going to be going over it. First, we're going to be talking about the actual lavish gifts that they have received. Talk about Alito and Thomas of some of the things that they've done. Now, one thing that you guys probably need to understand here is, no, you not probably, but you do need to understand, is that a lot of these 9 justices, all of them, have received gifts. And another thing that you need to know is that, well, this stuff that they're talking about, this disclosure or whatever, all of it is already, was pretty much allowed them for to do. Like, the Justices Thomas and Alito didn't have to disclose anything. It was not until last year to where they said, okay, now you have to start disclosing things. So, here's what I'm going to be going over with you guys today. So, they're saying that Thomas and Alito need to recuse themselves and do all this because, well, they did all of these gifts. They received all these gifts from these people. And I'm going to be going over that. So first off, the gifts that they received here, for instance, let's go with this here, the personal hospitality, right? So this here is the personal hospitality of what they received. So what we have here is, I am writing a response to your letter dated February 21st, 2023, and to provide an update on the actions taken by the Judicial Conference of the United States Committee on Financial Disclosure to clarify its regulations on personal hospitality. The committee's revisions to its regulations went into effect on March 14th, 2023. As noted in my April 29th, 2022 letter to you, I asked the Committee on Financial Disclosure to provide guidance on whether personal hospitality may encompass hospitality intended at a commercial property such as a resort, and whether hospitality for which a third party reimburses the host for the costs would fall outside the scope of the reporting exemption. Over the past several months, the Committee has considered this matter. The Committee addressed these questions most recently at its meeting in January 2023 and revised the guidance, which clarifies that the reporting exemption does not include gifts paid for by any individual or entity other than the individual providing the hospitality, or for which the individual providing the hospitality receives reimbursement or tax reduction related to the furnishing the hospitality or gifts extended at a commercial property, a resort, or restaurant. The following definition of personal hospitality of any individual now appears in the Judicial Conference regulations. Hospitality extended for a non-business purpose by individual, not a corporation or organization, at the personal residence of that individual or his or her family or property or facilities owned by the individual or her family. And here are some of the things that we're talking about here when we talk about the hospitality gift. The personal hospitality gift reporting exemption applies only to food, lodging, or entertainment and is intended to cover such gifts of a personal non-business nature. Therefore, the reporting exemption does not include gifts other than food, lodging, or entertainment such as transportation that substitute for commercial transportation. Gifts extended for a business purpose. Gifts extended at property or facilities owned by an entity rather than by an individual or an individual's family, even if the entity is owned wholly or in part by an individual or individual's family. Gifts paid by any individual or entity other than the individual providing the hospitality, or for which the individual providing the hospitality receives reimbursement or a tax deduction related to furnishing the hospitality, or gifts extended at a commercial property, e.g. a resort or restaurant, or at a property that is regularly rented out to others for a business purpose. A judicial or employee is not permitted to solicit or accept anything of value from a person seeking official action from or doing business with the court or the entity served by the judicial officer or employee, or from any other person whose interest may be substantially affected by the performance or non-performance of the judge's official duties. But a judicial officer or employee may accept a gift authorized by the Judicial Conference regulations. So, that is the reality of what's going on here, right? So, that's what we have to deal with. And here's another thing that you guys need to know, is that Clarence Thomas was going to accept it anyways. And that's what's going on here. So he agrees to the disclosure. In his statement, Thomas noted that the disclosure guidelines are being changed, with new guidance adopted last month by the Judicial Conference of the United States, which includes a requirement to disclose some free trips and air travel. He added that he intends to follow that guidance in the future. So he's already agreed to do this. So I want you guys to understand that they're being attacked for things that was already allowed to do in the past, and now they're changing it and they're agreeing to it. Both Alito and Thomas are agreeing to this. They're not not agreeing to it. They are. And a few things that I want you guys to understand as well, that we're also going to go through here, is a bit of some of the things that, about why they're actually doing this, right? So, again, when we go down to their wives, these are the wives, that we're talking about this, and all that, and all great stuff. So, this was the Jenny one of Thomas, Jenny Thomas, which is the wife of Thomas, Clarence Thomas, pretty much saying about her opinions on the matter of what was going on during the election. Here's one of them. This is from November 10th, 2020. It says, "Help this great president stand firm, Mark. The left states taste their power. You are the leader with him, who is standing for America's constitutional governance at the precipice. The left majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heights of our history." The next one that she goes on to say here is that the easiest thing for Democrats to do, of course, is nothing. But if Democrats choose instead to act as a political party should, they will do well to remember that if the tables were turned, their opponents would not hesitate to use every argument and every tool at their disposal, which is kind of what's happening now, right, guys? And then again, she goes on to say that Biden crime family and ballot fraud co-conspirators are being arrested and detained for ballot fraud right now and over coming days, and will be living in barges of GITMO to face military tribunals for sedition. And again, if we go down to the more of the text messages here and what's been going on, we have this here. We'll talk about the flag for Alito, and Alito is really just not really doing anything wrong here. The one time they did the inverted flag, it goes on to say the inverted flag was flown 11 days after Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building to stop Congress from certifying Joe Biden's 2020 election win. So, that's what's going on here. So, that has nothing to do with it. And he says, Justice Alito told the Times that he had no involvement whatsoever in the flying of the flag, saying his wife briefly put up the inverted flag in response to a neighbor's use of objectionable and personally insulting language on yard signs. And that is what his reason here. So, again, they're also going after things that the justices, that they didn't do. They didn't do any of this, and they're going after them for what their wives have done. Okay? What their wives have done. Now, we're going to go now timestamp the time they received gifts from this, and why it's kind of an issue here, right? Because by the time that they received the gifts, it doesn't make sense. So, right, Supreme Court justices have received nearly $5 million in gifts since the early 2000s, and one justice in particular, Justice Clarence Thomas, accounts for nearly all of it. Data released Thursday by watchdog group Fix the Court unveils a list of gifts justices have received since January 2004. Well, it wasn't until 2003 where they said, like, this is where it's being all changed. So all that beforehand was already changed to begin with. So, and we go with Samuel Alito here. In early 2008, Samuel Alito stood on a riverbanks in a remote corner of Alaska. The Supreme Court justice was on a vacation at a luxury fishing lodge that charged more than $1,000 a day. And after catching a king salmon nearly the size of his leg, Alito posted for a picture. Yeah, so this was in early 2008. And again, if we want to go back to Justice Clarence Thomas again, in 2015, Justice Clarence Thomas reported receiving a bust of Frederick Douglass, which he valued at $6.4 million, and it was the last of many gifts the justice disclosed from his billionaire friend, Harlan Crow. But Crow's favors to Thomas, just as a private jet travel luxury, a large donation in his honor. So, again, this was in 2015, all before 2023. So, this doesn't make sense. They were following the law and everything that was allowed to them prior to this being released. So you can't really do this. It's not really fair in that instance. And then we're going to go to Justice Alito here, where they're talking about the flag, where again they're saying another provocative flag was flown at another Alito home, which they're talking about the religious flag here, right? This is the flag that they're talking about. And they appeal to heaven, as you can see here as well. This is what they're talking about. And I don't know what about you, but it's an issue. Also, a lot of these people this is what the media does, right? They don't like Christians. They just simply just don't like Christians or anybody, at least anybody that's religious. But I'm going to say Christians because the media has really been going out on the whole Christian debacle for a while. And it says that the flag associated with Christian nationalism flown at Alito's beach house, report says. This is by PBS NewsHour, guys. This is by PBS NewsHour saying that nationalism, like having a Christian nationalism, is a bad thing. I don't know why it would be, but again, you guys know my stance on religion. Any of you that have seen my video on the stance of religion, you know where I stand with it. I don't really care for religion. I'm not really a religious type of person, but I don't care on the fact that you are religious or not. This has no qualms for me. If you want to be a Christian country, that's fine. I don't see an issue with this. And again, this is a comment from 2022 saying, in my humble opinion, the Supreme Court as it currently is currently constituted is controlled by the religious right. I don't see where there's a problem where if you're religious and why you're saying your religious right is a problem. Now, if you're going to say like terrorist right or, child grabber right or whatever, then you might have some opinions. You might be agreed here. But religious right, I don't see this being an issue. Like, you guys are making a problem out of just BS for whatever reason. Now, we're going to go and do this, my friends. We're going to do this. Now, remember you guys talking about like all the things that was been going on, right, with the justices? Well, now we're going to the actual justices, talking about Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, talking about this stuff, right? Ginsburg, my apologies. And these are the things that we have to have. So, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and I would say Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the Sotomayor also received these gifts, right? Received these gifts. So Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg to travel to Florence and Italy. In 2012, Ginsburg traveled to New York to accept Glamour magazine's Woman of the Year award, which came with a gift bag valued of $2,500. Both of these people, Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, both that are on the Democratic left, traveled, right? And they received gifts. Ginsburg receiving $2,500 worth of an actual gift bag. And then again, you have this where Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it says, Ginsburg was famously received her favorite descent color in the event's gift bag, which was, the magazine honored Ginsburg that year with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the annual Women of the Year ceremony. And of course, and this was happening in 2012. So, I don't know what they're doing here. And this is one of the great things that you guys have to understand, that it's being incredibly biased here. They received these gifts. This is not a surprise to all of this. And again, if we want to be honest, the reports which detail the stock holdings, travel, spousal income, gifts, and the debts of the 9 Supreme Court justices show the many ways that the judges can pad their finances beyond their judicial salary. So all the 9 justices, every last of the Supreme Courts, have done this. This is not a surprise. This is common. They receive gifts from multiple people. This is an issue. And again, if we're going to go with the other stuff as well, we're going to talk about the Harlan Crow, right? Justice Thomas's friend. It says, the statement from Harlan Crow, my wife Kathy and I have been friends with Justice Thomas and his and his wife, my apologies, not ex-wife, his wife Jenny since 1996, where we are very dear friends. The hospitality we have extended to the Thomases over the years is no different from the hospitality we have extended to our many other dear friends. We have been most fortunate to have a great life of many friends and financial success, and we have always placed a priority on spending time with our family and friends. Justice Thomas and Jenny have never asked for any of this hospitality. We have never asked about a pending or lower court case, and Justice Thomas has never discussed one, and we have never sought to influence Justice Thomas on any legal or political issue. More generally, I am unaware of any of our friends ever lobbying to or seeking to influence Justice Thomas on any case, and I would never invite anyone who I believe had any intention of doing that. These are gatherings of friends. On a number of occasions, we have made contributions to projects celebrating the life and legacy of Justice Thomas, just as we have done with other great leaders and historically significant figures. He and Jenny never asked us to do any of this. We did so because we believe Justice Thomas to be one of the greatest Americans of our time, and we believe it is important to make sure as many people as possible learn about him, remember him, and understand the ideals for which he stands. We will continue to support projects that advance his goal. So, yeah, that is his statement. So, they have been friends for a while, and I don't know about you, but if I went into politics and you told me giving friends or giving stuff for free or whatever, you're going to find out me giving gifts and stuff to my friends or paying my friends for stuff. Like, for instance, me getting my friend a baby crib because he was having a baby. So, friends do this. And the Democrats don't understand what friendship is because they're kind of void of this. They don't have any type of friendship whatsoever that can be lobbied to them. So, that's just the reality of what they're doing. And this is just another attempt to do it. Again, these guys are going to say like, "Oh well, what about the Trump? He did all this, he did all that, right? He doesn't like the way things are going." Well, what is the difference with you guys are doing? Because your guys are claiming on what these justices did and all that, but in technically reality, your same people have done this. You are biased, you are hypocrites, and you're only going after two parties here. I don't know about you, but you guys are the biggest hypocrites, the most corrupt party I have ever bloody seen in my life. Because you only go attack two certain type of people here. Only two people. And we all know previously before that you guys have done this as well. Your people, your Democratic side of these justices have done this as well. You are not safe from this. And to add insult to injury, they would also be accused of this, or recused of this, or amended from this, because again, this all happened years ago, 2014, 2012, things that before this even came into effect. So you guys need to be not biased here. And the final thing I want to point home to you guys, the reason why this took me so long to do this research, and the reason why it took so long to do this, like I started this video at like 1 o'clock to 1:30, and I finally able to get this done. Well, the video done, I am not even done with the editing, is because look at this. If you look at the stuff here, you're seeing that the liberal media is only liberal media stuff. It's so hard to find this. And if you go and look at more at all this, you look at this, guys. It's super hard to find any information because it's all by biased liberal media that you can't find. It's so hard to find the actual facts. I had to go, like I said, I had to deep dive through this in order to find this information for you because they hide it. And if anybody wants to go look the actual information here, you're not going to find it. It's really hard. Google is specifically not allowing other outlets to be put up here, and it's really hard to find it. So you're not going to find this easily. I will have all this information down in the description below, so you guys can do the research and find it yourself. Because how are you guys going to find the correct information if you don't know where to find it and it's super hard to find? I know you guys have lives and you can't do this easily. So, again, I'm giving you the information for you. So, without further ado, guys, that's it for the video. This is insane. They're being biased. They're being incredibly hateful. They do not they are being incredibly being disgenerous as always. And I think I had to expose this because it's completely disgusting. This video is super long because I can't do this in a very short time of all of this. So, yeah. But, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.